What's up? How we doing? Oh, thank you. That is so awesome. Thank you for that. Y'all good tonight? Well, as they said, my name is Eric Colquett. I am the student pastor here, and we are so glad that you have joined us tonight. Let's start off by talking about things that we make judgments of, things that we kind of dismiss before we even check them out. You know, we do this with all kinds of things in our life. Things like maybe there's a TV show that you've been making fun of your friend for watching, and now you can't stop binge watching it. Or maybe there's a food that you think is disgusting, and then now all of a sudden it's your go-to. Or maybe there was a friend that got on your nerves big time when you first met, and now you're like best friends. You see, we do this with all kinds of things in our life. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong about these things. Like, maybe you said, man, I don't know about camp. I think I'm not going to like it at all. And then before it was over with, you were crying because you didn't want it to be over. Or maybe you have a friend, your best friend is dating someone or wants to date someone, and you're roasting this person because of how awful they are. And then a year later, you're the one that's actually dating them, and it turns out you were right. Turns out you were right. They were a walking red flag, and your friend shouldn't have dated them in the first place. I did this a lot in life with food. There's lots of different foods that I've made judgments about in my life. When I was a lot younger, there was this one particular food that I thought was pretty gross. Like, I thought I would never eat it. I thought it was kind of weird. And I just thought, there's no way I'm ever eating that. It's this food. Sushi. So one day, look at it. Who would want to eat that? It looks kind of weird, right? Oh, see, we got some sushi fans. But one day, all that changed. Before I lived here in Myrtle Beach, I lived in Texas, and I worked at a different church with our pastor, Trey. And one day, he wanted to go to lunch and asked me if we wanted to go get some sushi. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't like sushi. It's disgusting. Like, what? And so I went with him. And we walked in there, and I was so confused. I didn't even know what to order. It all looked weird. And so I just ended up ordering this California roll. And I took a bite of it, and it was absolutely disgusting. In fact, I like gagged when I ate it. But then, so I finished. I kept trying it. I had a few more pieces. And then, like a week later, I started thinking about sushi. And then I went back and I tried it again. And now I can eat sushi every single day. Have you ever done that with a food? Have you ever done that with sushi? Raise your hand if you've done this with sushi. Okay, I think it's a thing with that. Anyway, so you understand this principle. Sometimes we're right about things. Sometimes we're wrong about our judgment. Sometimes we just write things off. A lot of times we do this with more than just a favorite TV show or a friend or food. Sometimes we even do this when it comes to our faith. You see, because when it comes to showing up at a place like this, or it comes to thinking about church, sometimes our first snap judgment, our thought is, I'm not sure that's for me. I don't know if it's where I want to go. It seems weird. It seems confusing. So our judgment is, it's not for me. And I understand this because honestly, for some of us, we've been in situations that have to do with church that made us feel this way. Like we've shown up at a place and it feels like people there were judgmental. Or there were just a bunch of cliques and you just couldn't find your way in. Or it felt like people there were just kind of pretending that they had their whole life put together, and they really didn't. Or maybe even worse, the worst possible thing could have happened is someone who was supposed to represent Jesus and follow Jesus may have treated you in a way that was the opposite of Jesus. So it's easy for us to get in that place, to get in a place of, I'm not sure about this church thing. I'm not sure about this God thing. And sometimes we've missed out on something that's been pretty awesome. And sometimes we're right, because sometimes people are hypocritical. And sometimes they do things to us and that's pretty bad. And church culture can be messy. But what if there's still something there? What if there might be something that's there that we are not sure about, that may be too far away, but if we're willing to lean in, we can learn more. You see, when it comes to faith, a lot of times we get tripped up with things because we act like we need to have it all figured out before we take the first step. We act like we have to know all the things, have all of our questions answered. But what if that's not true? What if our questions and our curiosity are a good place to be? You see, if that's you, if that's where you're at tonight, we're glad you're here. You belong in a place like this. We've designed this place for you. A place to figure out these questions and a place to figure out all the things about who God is and what it means to follow him. And so we're glad you're here. This is a place where you can be real, where you don't have to pretend, where we're really just a group of people that are walking this same walk, trying to figure out this faith thing together. And I want you to know that you belong here, and we're glad that you're here. So tonight, we're going to look at something from the life of Jesus that kind of falls into this whole category of maybe judging something before you actually have figured it out. And so we're going to go to early part of Jesus' ministry, kind of like when he was just starting out, he was just starting to talk to people. It'd be like meeting someone before they got famous. I wish I had a good example of that. But so this is where Jesus was. He was kind of walking around, talking to people, meeting them, kind of ministering them, meeting their needs. And so people were starting to follow him. One of his earliest followers was a guy by the name of Philip. And as soon as Philip started getting to know Jesus, immediately his first thought was, I need to go tell somebody. I need to go tell my good buddy Nathaniel. And so that's where we're going to pick up this story, and that's what we're going to check out. Check out what it says here in John. It says, we have found the one Moses wrote about in the law, about whom all the prophets also wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. So Philip was like, we found him. This is the guy we've been waiting for. This is the guy we've been talking about. He's here. His name is Jesus. And Nathaniel's like, I don't think so. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. This can't be him. I don't think you're right. And here's what Nathaniel says. He says, Nazareth, can anything good come from there? You see, immediately Nathaniel judged where Jesus was coming from. He judged a place, he judged a people, and he judged could anything good come from there. He made a judgment without truly knowing what was going on. You see, he was not impressed with this guy who might be coming from Nazareth. And we do this a lot. You know, maybe you've heard, maybe you tried to tell a friend, hey, come check out Wellspring Students. Or let me tell you about Jesus. And they're like, what? Why do I care about Wellspring Students? Why do I care about following God? I don't understand. And you're like, but you'll get it. Just come check it out. And we've been there before. We've seen people that kind of judge before they've checked it out. Well, what I love what happens next in this story is Nathaniel, he doesn't get defensive when Philip doesn't get defensive when Nathaniel has this attitude. He doesn't try to debate him. He doesn't try to say, hey, my faith is awesome and you should come check it out. He simply does one simple thing in this moment, and I think there's a ton we can learn from it. Check out what Philip said back to him. He said, come and see. Just a simple invitation. Just a simple moment of saying, hey, I understand where you're at here. I understand that you don't get it. But come check it out. Come try this out. There's not a debate. Just come check it out. Come with me. Come be a part of this. There's no pressure in this moment. That invite was huge for Nathaniel. This one little moment that Philip just said, hey, come check this out, was a huge moment for Nathaniel. Check out what happens next. As they approached, Jesus said, now here is a genuine son of Israel, a man of complete integrity. How do you know me? Nathanael asked. Jesus answered, I saw you while you were sitting under the fig tree before Philip called you. Now, that's kind of weird. He said, I saw you before you saw me. That's what that means. Jesus is saying, hey, I saw you over there. I knew I was going to meet you before you even saw me. And I think for us, hearing that, for some of us, we think sometimes if God really saw who I was, if he saw what I'd done, if he saw what I'd been through, it almost would disqualify us from even connecting with him. But I want you to see is the same with Nathanael. In this moment, Jesus saw him, and he still said, hey, I see you, and I love you, and I want to connect with you. And I want to just kind of pause right here for a moment and sit in this moment. Because for some of you, tonight, you truly need to hear that. Because no matter what you're carrying, no matter what you've been through, no matter what questions or doubts you have, maybe tonight you need to hear that God sees you and he loves you. And more than that, he even likes you. You're noticed. You're known. And he, more than anything, sees you where you are, and he's pursuing you. So maybe this whole thing tonight is for you to hear that, to know that the God of the universe is pursuing you, and he loves you in the same way he was Nathanael. Let's keep reading. It says this, then Nathanael declared, Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel. He said, Rabbi translates teacher. He said, yes, I see you. Thank you, Jesus, for who you are. Thank you for seeing me first. You are who Philip says you are. This is an awesome statement, but let's keep going. Jesus said, you believe because I told you I saw you under the fig tree. You will see greater things than that. And we'll come back to this statement in a second. But what I want you to see from this whole interaction and the whole point of tonight is that everything changes when you see it for yourself. Everything changes when you see it for yourself. Maybe you're not sure of what you believe. Maybe you still have questions. That's okay. That's a good place to start. And it changes when you take a step towards Jesus and you begin to explore it for yourself. Maybe for some of you, you've grown up in church your whole life, and you still have deep questions that you're trying to figure out the answers to, and you're trying to figure out how to ask them. I want you to know tonight, that's okay. That's a great place to be, because in those questions, it begins to lay a foundation for your faith. So whether you're not sure where you believe, or maybe you just have questions, that's okay, and it's a great place to be. It's all about showing up, because we don't have to have everything figured out from day one. It's all about showing up and leaning in and learning more. And that's exactly what Nathanael started to do. When he realized who Jesus was, Jesus said to him, hey, I'm glad that you understand who I am, but there's going to be greater things ahead that you get to experience because you came to see who I was and what this is all about. And so the people that came around Jesus in that moment, that's basically the same message he was telling to them. Hey, what's coming up, you're not going to believe. It's going to rock your world. You're going to see some amazing things, and they did. They saw the blind receive sight. They saw a man walk on water in the middle of a storm. They saw a storm quietened with one word. They saw 5,000 people fed with just a little boy's lunch. They saw a woman who was caught in sin be restored in that moment. They saw the people that were outcast be welcomed in. They saw religious be humbled. They saw so many people be forgiven. And on and on and on and on. And ultimately, they saw hope come back to life. They saw all these things because of a simple invitation from Philip to Nathanael to come and see. And they saw all these things because they were willing not to judge from afar and say, that wasn't for me. I don't have this all figured out. I don't know what this is all about. They saw these things because they were willing to take a step and come see for themselves. Everything really does change when you see for yourself. And so that's what I want to encourage you tonight to do. Continue to keep seeking. Continue to keep learning and trying to understand what this life is all about, what it truly means to follow God. So what do we do with this? Well, the first thing I would tell you is to keep showing up. And that seems like an obvious thing for me to say as a person standing here on the stage. But if you were here at the end of the last year, that was my message for you, was to keep showing up, keep being here, because that matters. It matters to be here, even if you don't have it all together, even if you haven't figured it all out. Just keep showing up. You belong here. Again, this is a place where you can come and explore the things of faith with no pressure. We've designed this place for you to come and to figure out who God is in an awesome environment with people that are doing the same thing. So just keep showing up. And for those of you who have questions, y'all have heard us talk about this a couple of times. Maybe you want to explore your faith even more. Maybe you want to grow your faith. Maybe you want to expand it. I would encourage you to think about joining our Discover Faith environment that will meet on Sundays. We're starting it next week, right here on a Sunday morning. We'd love for you to come join that. We've got just kind of we're going to have an awesome time together. We're going to take one aspect of faith each week and kind of unpack it. Kayla and Campbell and I and Lisa from Gold Tribe, we're going to be in there helping lead this. So we'd love for you to come and join us with that. So keep showing up. And the second thing is be a Philip. Be a Philip. What does that mean? Well, keep inviting. Keep inviting. Remember what Campbell said last week. For many people in our life, we are the closest thing that people will ever get to Jesus. It's you, because no one else is coming. Be a Philip and simply say, you don't have to debate them. You don't have to argue with them about how awesome church is or the things you're learning about God. Just say, hey, come with me to students sometime. Hey, we got free food. Come join me. So be a Philip. Keep showing up. Keep leaning in. Keep asking your questions. And be a Philip by inviting the people around you. Everything changes when you see it for yourself. That really is true. It really is, there's really something about you owning your faith and leaning in for yourself. So I think you guys are going to have a great time discussing this tonight.